Hello, wonderful people! In this video, I'm going to show you how to automatically track the amount of words you write every single day using Google Docs, Google Drive, and Google Scripts. So this is the result of what I'm going to show you today. I have a Google Sheet here that has an entry for every single day this script has been active, and it tells me how much I've written. It divides it automatically into fiction and nonfiction, tells me my total word count for the day, the 7-day moving average. It allows me to define a goal as well, and then it also tracks the amount of time that I've spent in Google Sheets. In my email, at the end of every single day, this sends me a daily almanac email that, if we open one of these up, gives me the total number of words I've written, relative if I completed my daily goal or not. It tells me how many days out of the past number of days I've written, and also it has a streak functionality as well. And today, I'm going to show you how to do this for free, for $0. You can set this up for yourself and be automatically tracking how much you write every single day. Just remember to hit like on the video. That is the commission I'm charging for giving you this information, and I'll show you exactly how to do it. One big disclaimer before I start: this is not my code. I found this on GitHub. Thank you, JamieTR1. The first link below will link you directly to this repository, which gives you a written instruction for how to do this in case this video isn't able to clearly explain everything to you. So I encourage you to check that out if you have any problems. Okay, the first step is to set up the right number of folders on Google Drive. So first, I want you to go to Google Drive, so drive.google.com. And what you're going to do in Drive before we get everything else set up is you're going to make a series of folders. So first, you're going to go over to this new button, you're going to click on the folder, and you're going to make a writing folder. After that writing folder is created, we're going to go in there and we're going to create a new folder within writing. And this folder we're going to call the Sandbox folder. So you can see we've created the Sandbox folder inside of writing. Inside the Sandbox, we're going to make one more folder, the final folder, I promise, and this is going to be called Snapshots. Okay, now that we have all of those folders set up, go into the description of this video and click on the Google Writing Tracker Data Spreadsheet. That's a mouthful. What we're going to do here is we're simply going to copy this into our drive. And so we're going to go to File, we're going to make a copy, and then we're just going to save it to our drive. Specifically, we're going to go into our drive here, and we're going to save it into the writing folder. Select. And voila, we have a copy of this Google Writing Tracker Data spreadsheet in our own personal drive that is now officially ours. So the third step is we're going to configure our spreadsheet. If you look down, there's a bunch of tabs here, and we're going to click on the Config tab. First up, we have the email address column. The value here is going to be the email address you want your daily updates sent to. Next up, we're going to enter the Sandbox location. We're just going to enter the name of that folder. I named this folder Sandbox, but you're welcome to choose any name as long as you're consistent here. The snapshot location, so we named that the Snapshots folder, and that's the name I'll put in here. Snapshots. Make sure you spell this the same way with the same capitalization and everything. The rest of these settings are all going to be left the same. They're basically just wiring up the spreadsheet. If you want to get more complex, feel free to look at the GitHub to play around with these, but I'm going to skip them for the sake of this tutorial. Alright, next up we're going to be installing the scripts that are going to run behind the scenes and track our word count, as well as send us the email. For this, we're going to start in the Google Drive. We're going to go to New, and then under this More tab, we're going to scroll down to Google Apps Scripts. And this is going to create a new Google Script project that we'll use next. Alternatively, we can also go to script.google.com to see all of our scripts. Okay, now that we've created our new script file, we're going to go up here and we're going to name it. We're going to call this Writing Stats. Okay. And now it's going to save. Next up, we're going to go to File and Project Properties, and at the bottom here in this time zone, we're going to make sure that this is our time zone. Alright, next up, we're going to go into the description of this video or on the GitHub, and we're going to open this writingstats.gs file on GitHub, which looks like this. And what we're going to do, it's very simple. We're just going to drag and highlight the whole thing. There's a lot of code here that we don't have to write ourselves, which is awesome. And we're going to copy it. And then over in the writing stats file, we're just going to select everything and then just paste it. And then hit the save button right here. So we just need to make one change to this code document, which is on line 3. We have this insert your spreadsheet ID. And here we need the ID for the spreadsheet. So if you go back to the spreadsheet that you just copied into your own Google Drive, up in this URL, you're going to see this D/ and then a bunch of numbers and letters. And this right here is the unique ID for the spreadsheet. So we're just going to highlight that. We're going to copy it, go back to our code doc, and then we're just going to simply paste it right there instead of those brackets. And that's all we need to do. Bam! And suddenly we have all the code just imported. We don't have to do any of it ourselves. Thanks again, Jamie TR. Okay, next up, we're going to create a new script file in the writing stats file. So we're going to go up to here, File, New, and then Script File right here. And we're going to click on that, and we're going to call it diff.js. And see, that creates another subfolder in our script file. Next up, we're going to copy paste some more code. So we're going to go back into the description, find the diff.js file on GitHub. So we're going to open that up, and then we're going to do the exact same thing. We're just going to simply click and drag, we're going to copy it, we're going to go to our writing stats, we're going to illuminate, and we're going to paste everything there and just hit save. Bam! And now our writing stats is set up. All right, and now we're going to do this one more time, one more piece of code that we need, and this is the piece of code that's going to send us the emails and summarize our stats for us. So back in your scripts.google.com, we're going to create a new project, and we're going to name this one the Daily Almanac, and we're going to hit OK. It's going to save it. Next, we're going to go back into the description, find this Daily Almanac GS file, open it up on GitHub, and do the exact same thing we did before by just dragging, copy, pasting all of the code, go back to our Daily Almanac script file, select everything, and then paste it and save it. And there we go. We just copy and pasted all of the code we need in order to track all of our stats. Remember, for the Daily Almanac, to go into this file, Project Properties, and double check the time zone to make sure that it's the same as your local time zone. All right, one more thing for the Daily Almanac. We need to insert the file ID again. So it's the same thing we did before, where we go to our sheet, we copy this highlighted section after the D/. We go back to Daily Almanac, and we're going to paste this here. And then save it, and Daily Almanac is finished. So we're almost done. The last thing that we have to do is we have to set up the scripts so they automatically run at the right time. Go back to your script.google.com, and next to your writing stats script, you can see this I. If you click on that, you can see some basic stats about your script. This is great for debugging. And if you click this ... right up here, we can then look at the triggers, which are going to automatically run the script. So there's no results. That's good. We haven't set up any triggers yet. We're going to go down and we're going to add a trigger. For the function we want to run, we're going to get daily word count. This is the function that's going to run all the other scripts. It should be run on head. It should be time driven. And we're going to run it every single day, so this day timer. Now, the time of day, I like to run this the last hour of the day, so 11 p.m. to midnight. We're going to hit save. We got to choose our account. This app isn't verified. This is a security protocol from Google. Since this script is going to be sending emails on your behalf, this is something to make sure that you're not setting up something you don't want to. So if you want to get past this, you have to go to Advanced, then click the link here, and then you can allow it to work. And voila, we have our first trigger set up. We're going to do the exact same thing for the daily almanac script, hit this I. We're going to hit the ... triggers, set up a new trigger, and for this one, get almanac text. We're going to do the same thing for day timer as well. In this one, we're going to set from midnight to 1 a.m. So the almanac text is going to run the hour after we get our word count to make sure we have an updated word count. We're going to save that. It's going to bring us through the same prompt. We're going to allow, and bam, we have our trigger set up. Theoretically, everything should be able to work right now. So now that we've set up the scripts, it's a good idea to make sure everything is working. So if we go back into our Google Drive here in the writing folder, I'm going to go into the Sandbox and let's create a new document. And this we're going to call our test novel. So we're going to add some text to our test novel, blah, 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 lorem ipsum. In order to test that things are working properly, we're going to go back to our script.google homepage, and we're going to click on our writing stats right here. Inside writing stats, we're going to hit this run function, and we're going to get daily word count. We're going to click that, and it's going to run the function. And oh, what is this? We have an error. The time zone settings of the spreadsheet and the script do not match. So this is exactly what I was talking about before. So let's solve this together. If we go back to our Google Writing Tracker, we go to File and then down to Spreadsheet Settings. Oh, look at this. Time zone is set to Eastern. I'm going to set this to Mountain Time Zone so that we're able to have the same time zone between our spreadsheet and our documents, and we're going to save the setting. Okay, so this problem should be fixed. Let's try to run it again. Get daily word count. The function's going to run. It's going to look through our Sandbox folder, and then it's going to copy that file and count those words. And now if we go back to the Google Writing Tracker, we can see it worked. There's an entry here from today, which is October 28th, and the 7-day average, we don't have 7 days yet, so it's not going to count anything. But there we go. There's 75 words that we've written in total there. Awesome, right? So now we're going to do the same thing for our almanac. So the almanac actually sends us our word count from yesterday. So for the sake of testing it, we're going to go in here and we're going to change the date to the day before. Next, we're going to go back into Google Scripts. We're going to click on our daily almanac script. Here's the code we set up. And then we're going to hit run function, get almanac text. So we're going to click that. It's going to run the function, and now it just finished. So we're going to go to our email, and we can see that we received an email here. And this is telling us, yes, the daily almanac script worked, and it sent us an email, and it's going to be 75 words for today. So that means we have everything set up. Okay, so how does this work? So in our Sandbox, we have our test novel that we just saved, and if we look into the snapshots folder now, we can see we have an identical file, the test novel, that is going to be our carbon copy from the day before. So really important note is you do not want to work on the documents in your snapshots folder because they're going to be overridden automatically. You always want to be working on the Sandbox version. One of the ways I make sure that I'm working on the correct version and I'm not working on the snapshot version is I like to star it. I hit this add to start icon, and now we're going to be able to see which of our documents has a star on it versus the one in the snapshots folder will not have a star. So that's a really good tip to making sure you don't mix up those two files, because you do not want to work on the snapshot version and have your work erased. So let's cover some advanced features now. If we go back to our Google Writing Tracker data spreadsheet and go to the config tab, we can see that we're able to actually track fiction versus nonfiction, which is a pretty cool feature. In order to enable that, we need to go down to this word count mode here and set this equal to 1. And then if we have this tag at the beginning of our document, then we're going to be able to record it as fiction or nonfiction. So let's try it out actually. I'm just going to copy this tag with the 2 brackets and go to our test novel, and then I'm going to insert it at the top. So like our test novel is a fiction novel now. If we go back to our writing stats code and we run it, we can see that we've written one word and now it's counted as fiction, versus before this fiction nonfiction area was blank. The second advanced feature is goals. If we go to this goal tab right here, today's October 28th, 2020, and we can update our goal for here. So let's say instead of 500 words, I want to do NaNoWriMo, which is 1666 words. I just ran the get word count function again and added 5 words. And as you can see, our goal is now updated to the 1666 mark. And if we update our goal again, the script is just going to take the bottommost goal as our current goal. So if I run this again, we can see here that the goal is now 300 instead of 1666. So this is really handy if your goal is changing and if you have a new project you're working on. Very helpful. All right, there's one more advanced feature I want to cover because it's really cool, and that is tracking the amount of time that you spend in Google Sheets. Even if I wasn't working on my novel, I can see how much time I was spending writing on Google Sheets. Rescue Time is a great and also a free way of tracking the amount of time you spend on your computer every day. If you want to enable this feature, you're going to go down to the bottom and you're going to click this Data API Integrations tab, and then you're going to go up to API Key Management. And this is where you're going to create a new API key so that the script can read how much time you're spending on Google Docs. So you can create a label, let's just say Google Docs, and then you're going to hit activate this key, and it's going to give you the key right here. So you're just going to copy that, go over to your config for your writing tracker, and then you're going to paste it right in here. This should work. This should automatically update your sheet every single day with how much time you spend in Google Sheets, which is a really, really cool feature. But yeah, it's a relatively straightforward process for how powerful this tool is. Knowing that I'm going to receive an email at the end of every single day that tells me exactly how much progress I made, or the lack thereof, has been incredibly motivating. And it's gotten me to write so much more than I would have normally, because I constantly am being reminded of the goal that I set for myself. Thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing. I would love to have you on board. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.